Man, I'll tell you what's going through my head right now as I think about this is I'm not sure that society and popular culture has done the foster parents any favors. And I say that because there is, just as I'm sitting here and taking in what you're telling me and kind of reading your body language and hearing the emotion in your voice, and I'm thinking, boy, everything that we get thrown at us about foster parents is always the crazy one, who's strapping the kids to the beds and, pop culture and movies. Oh, it's always the foster parent that did this. And I don't know of any, again, off the top of my head, that I've seen or heard that reflect positively, if you will, on foster parents. I don't know if that's just the nature of celebrity in the world we live today, and the people that do all the right things never get any of the press, and the ones that do it wrong seem to be the most popular, which is a really unfortunate indictment against us in society. But for you, how do you take that? What's your read on what us from the outside looking in at foster parents is?
I think that's accurate. There's a lot of negative stereotypes.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm on TikTok as well, and I tried to make the TikTok content specifically just for information about foster care. And there's like a lot of great feedback, but a lot of kids responding. We wish we had, a family like you when we grow up. Kids like we aged out of the system, but in that time we're in 50 different homes. They were all bad. I got abused in foster care. I had this, I had that.
Yeah.
So I think there's those bad families that then overshadow all the good kind of families. I mean, basically for a kid to get placed with us, every division office that you're kind of assigned to has like a dispatcher. So when somebody has to get moved or taken, they call you. We're like one of the first people on the list and have within the state of New Jersey a really good reputation for being a good home and taking care of the kids. And I think it's really tough and unfortunate. And I think foster parents, people don't really know it, but they don't have a lot of rights in terms of kind of legality. Like we're technically like the wards of the state. What the state tells us to do, we have to do. We can't kind of deviate away from that. And I think there's a gray area that caseworkers operate in terms of what they do and never kind of get in trouble for in that sense. So things like we can't give the kids a haircut. We can't obviously take them to church because if they have a different religion, the parent may be upset about that. We can't give them over the counter medication like children's Tylenol. So for something like that, we still have to take them to a doctor, and then the doctor has to prescribe a script for something that's over the counter.
So the kid,
So
just let me interrupt you there because you got my blood pressure up a little bit. The kid with burns on the inside of his thighs, you got to call the person who did it about whether or not he can get a haircut.
the caveat that actually person on Easter called the police on us and accused us of abuse, but the cops came and the kid has been in two other homes that she's continuously called the police on for like there's a hotline, abuse hotline, and it's supposed to be anonymous, but she basically admitted to calling it. She's actually mentally unstable, but they're still taking what she says. She's not in the right state of mind. That's one reason that the child was taken away. The child actually has different developmental delays and stuff like that. So he has a tough placement, but we're doing our best with that. But it's still like she's still trying to hold on. And biological parents, we've had parents that actually try get their kids back and get their life back together. But there's parents that kind of try to sabotage the process, and that's kind of the only last grasp of power they have. So they try to do whatever they can. And then like the cops came and they basically said like, this is laughable, literally 2 hours before we ate Easter dinner. So it was traumatic for the child. The mom was, mentally unstable and also upset that, she didn't get her way in a call or something like that. So she figured she would call police and that would alleviate it in some manner. Then she called later and said, I wasn't calling the police on you. I was calling them on the previous foster family, which makes no sense because you call the police and say, my child is in foster care, they're going to come to the house they're in, not the previous home. So we deal with a lot of mentally unstable people that apparently have still, rights to a certain extent, but there's no consequences. There's no like, you make a false claim and you lose visitation or you lose something. All that lady has gotten throughout the whole process, this child has been in the system for a year, was a warning from the judge over and over again. So there's no like cause and effect in terms of you do something bad, this happens. So she just keeps doing it. She actually last Friday, because I mean, God bless my wife, with 4 kids from 3 different families, and because of this whole COVID thing, the kids have 15 hours of calls with caseworkers, biological parents, different resource workers, law guardians, nurses every week, 15 hours.
Wow.
My wife's on the phone. So it's just simply crazy dealing with these personalities. And because it's over the phone, usually caseworkers will shield us for people that are unstable like this. We don't necessarily have to communicate with them if they're not in the right state of mind. But because of our circumstances and where we are with this pandemic, it kind of threw us into the situation, and we're literally doing the job of all these government workers and literally facilitating all these kind of calls and visitations throughout the week.